Ladies and gentlemen, PNC Bank is at it once again. Shut down. Popular Bank closing dozens of branches. And says here that you need to check your area and when the doors could shut for good. Folks, let's talk about this. Multiple locations of the popular Pennsylvania-based bank PNC have plans to close this year. These are things that we had talked about late last year about PNC Bank insider intel and some changes going on within the banking system. Go check out those videos if you haven't seen it already. PNC Bank announced it will shutter 32 locations throughout the U.S. in 2023 as the bank sees more customers transitioning to online banking. Forced to transition. And it says here that the bank is closing brick and mortar locations by March. So we're going to see some account holders possibly not having the ability to access these bank branch locations that they would previously visit on a regular basis to conduct their banking transactions, utilize the ATMs, meet with bankers and lenders and the tellers. So there's going to be multiple locations that are going to be shut down, as well as I would anticipate more locations announced as we move into the spring, with these banks checking their balance sheets, making reductions, making cuts, and pushing more folks to online banking. Simple fact of the matter is that online banking is going to save these banks a lot of money and ultimately help them increase their profits. Okay, they won't need the expensive locations, the expensive rent and mortgage payments, the expensive investments of capital and construction and maintenance of these locations, and they can actually operate with less physical people. Additionally, with the transition moving towards the CBDC and the reduction of physical paper money, physical cash, then we'll ultimately see a greater push towards online banking because you won't actually need to feel or touch the physical, tangible dollar bills. You know, it'll all be digital. So we have that to look forward to, folks. However, additionally, we have to notice and understand that this is going to be a reduction in employment. So folks that are in the banking industry, I would highly encourage them to really analyze their position, analyze the sustainability of their position, and or likelihood of their position becoming obsolete with the changes that are occurring right before our eyes with announcements like these from PNC. But I'm sure we'll have even more announcements from other banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist. The list goes on and on. Even some of the smaller banks, as some of the smaller banks could potentially get bought up by some of the larger banks. And we'll see almost an end to the small local community banks, and they'll all pretty much be moving and shifting online. This is an evolutionary cycle. This is a business cycle. This is what I've been talking to you guys about for months on this channel, about the changes that are occurring, that are coming, and that we need to be prepared for and preparing for. And yeah, it's also going to have a huge impact on employment and people's ability to earn income, especially in these fields, as their positions are being reduced and eliminated, possibly outsourced to other countries, but even more so now being outsourced to technology with Microsoft and, you know, introductions of companies and technology and AI like ChatGPT. A lot of positions are going to be eliminated. A lot of people could find themselves facing unemployment with a higher difficulty of replacing these jobs and these loss of income in the same and similar fields because the jobs they're just not going to be around anymore, which in my opinion is going to have an interesting impact on the unemployment rate for the fact that the jobs are just not available versus people not having jobs, which I think is going to be a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek little, read between the lines with the Fed as they continuously push up interest rates as we continue on through this recession. So what do we do? How do we prepare? Like I said, evaluate your position. Perhaps maybe do all you can not to be on the chopping block. Make yourself indispensable. Become more valuable to the company, but perhaps maybe not too expensive for the company, because obviously when the time comes, they're going to look at the most expensive employees first. Okay. Additionally, make sure your own personal financial situation at home is sound. Make sure you're not spending too much money. Make sure you have a solid budget. Make sure you're not wasting money on high interest debt. Make sure you're saving money and investing so that you can have a safety net and passive income returns from the growth of your investments, cash flow producing assets, and possible dividends and royalties. So that would be first and foremost. Besides that, I would be looking to make sure that I have additional streams of income that I can produce on my own, perhaps on the side, so that I don't have to invest so much of my own time, effort, and energy into it while working my other job. But I do want to make sure I have something growing and building in the background so it is ready and working for me now and possibly even scalable in the future if need be. The other alternative or the other option would be to have your money work for you. And if you have the ability to make some investments into some businesses and some side hustles that can bring back returns, that would be ideal, because a lot of people don't necessarily have the time, but they do happen to have the money. Case in point, the story I brought to you about a recent restaurant here that was going out of business. They actually listed their company for sale with a broker, and they immediately received 2 offers from buyers that had the financial means and were ready to purchase. That being said, they would purchase these companies, these businesses at a discount, obviously, but then be able to use these purchases, use these investments to make these businesses cash flow producing to bring back returns. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal right now. And I think everybody should be cognizant of that and being aware of it and doing all they can to get out in front of it so that they can have an opportunity at collecting their royalties and their returns on these opportunities. If you guys want to know more, drop a comment down below. Let me know. I would love to bring you guys more information about these specifically, especially for the people who are interested. Inversely, or on the opposite side, anybody who's on a fixed income, who low income and is not interested in that, well, the biggest thing is going to be making sure you're as frugal as possible, you're spending as little as possible, you're saving as much as possible if possible, and your budget's going to have to be very, very precise, very tight, and debt is not an option. So, there's several trains of thought and ways and means and methods of approaching this, depending on you, your personal situation, your future plans, your life's goals. I would really like to take this time and these warnings as inspiration and motivation to really position myself and my family to succeed, rather than take these updates and these warnings and these headlines as worry, panic, and fear, adding to the stress and anxiety that a lot of people are carrying on a regular basis. And it doesn't need to be that way. We need to identify and understand the information that's being presented, and then we need to use that not in fear, but as a push, in the right direction to really get us in gear and get us going to execute on a solid plan of survival and success, with the possible likelihood of the direction that our economy, the direction of business, the direction of jobs are going. This is just what I see from my little corner of the world. Perhaps maybe other people are seeing something different. Maybe they have different opinions, different perspectives, but to each their own. I think that no matter what, it would be a sound investment in your own personal future financial success to always execute on these 5 basic simple strategies no matter what. And you'll either have really good success, nothing ever happens and you're A-okay, or we have, catastrophic meltdowns and economic collapse, and at least you're safe, at least you're prepared, at least you're not going to get wiped out.